They tried to tow my tractor from my ranch too bad. I'm outside their legal jurisdiction zone. The roar of a tow truck shattered the quiet of my ranch at dawn, its diesel engine growling like an intruder on my land. I stepped onto the porch, coffee mug in hand, and froze. A sleek black SUV sat parked crookedly on my property, its polished chrome gleaming against the backdrop of my weathered red tractor. A woman, Karen, I'd later learn, stood beside it, her designer blazer and sunglasses screaming city privilege. She barked orders at two tow truck workers, pointing at my tractor like it was an eyesore. "Get that junk off this land," she snapped, her voice dripping with contempt. My blood boiled. This was my home, my sanctuary, 40 acres of freedom outside city limits. Who was she to storm in here? I'd heard whispers about the HOA in the new gated community a mile down the road. They've been bullying neighbors, slapping fines on unsightly properties, but my ranch? It wasn't under their thumb. I marched toward her, boots crunching on the gravel. "Ma'am, this is private property. You're trespassing." Karen didn't even glance my way. "This tractor violates community standards," she said, waving a clipboard. "It's an embarrassment." I laughed, incredulous. "Community? Lady, I'm outside your jurisdiction. You've got no authority here." Her smirk faltered, but she doubled down, tossing her hair. "We'll see about that." The truth unraveled quickly. Karen was the HOA president, a self-appointed queen of suburban aesthetics. She convinced herself my tractor parked neatly on my own land was lowering property values for her precious gated enclave. She'd hired a tow company, forged a complaint, and driven onto my ranch without permission, assuming her wealth and title gave her free rein. I pulled out my phone, showing her the county map. My land was clearly outside city limits, beyond her HOA's reach. "You're breaking the law," I said, voice steady but firm. She scoffed, undeterred, and signaled the tow crew to hook up my tractor. That's when I noticed the damage. Tire tracks gouged my pasture, and a section of my fence lay splintered where her SUV had barreled through. Then came a twist. Old Man Jenkins, my neighbor, hobbled over from his adjacent property, cane in hand. He was a quiet man, rarely seen, but his eyes burned with fury. "Karen," he rasped, "you tried this on me last month." I blinked, caught off guard. Jenkins revealed she'd fined him $2,000 for his unkempt barn, claiming it was in her jurisdiction. He'd paid to avoid a fight, but now he was done. "I checked the records," he said, pulling out a crumpled surveyor's map. "Your HOA's boundary ends half a mile from here. You're a fraud." Karen's face paled, but she snapped, "Stay out of this, old man." Jenkins just grinned, his dentures glinting. I called the sheriff. The confrontation exploded. Karen, cornered, went feral, shouting about her authority and standards. I stood my ground, pointing out the broken fence and torn up grass. "You're paying for this," I said. The tow workers hesitated, sensing trouble, but Karen screamed at them to keep going. That's when a sheriff's cruiser rolled up, lights flashing. Deputy Ramirez, a no-nonsense woman who'd grown up on a farm, stepped out. "Karen Mitchell," she asked, eyeing the clipboard. Karen froze. Ramirez checked the map, then my property deed. "Ma'am, you're on private land with no jurisdiction. You're looking at trespassing and property damage charges." Karen's arrogance crumbled, her voice shrinking to a stammer. But the community standards. The collapse was swift and brutal. Ramirez documented the damage $1, $500 in repairs for the fence and pasture. The tow company, realizing they'd been misled, unhooked my tractor and apologized profusely. Karen's SUV was impounded for illegal entry, and her clipboard, filled with fake complaints, was seized as evidence. Jenkins, emboldened, filed a formal complaint about his own ordeal, sparking a county investigation into the HOA's overreach. Word spread fast. By noon, neighbors were texting me screenshots from the HOA's private forum, where residents raged about Karen's reign of terror. She'd bullied dozens, from finding a single mom for her kid's tricycle to threatening an elderly couple over their garden gnomes. Her empire of control was imploding. Karen's fall wasn't just legal, it was personal. At the sheriff's station, she tried to charm her way out, batting her eyelashes and name-dropping her husband's law firm. Ramirez wasn't having it. "You're not above the law," she said, slapping a citation on the desk. Karen's designer sunglasses slipped off as she slumped, defeated. Back at the ranch, I found a note from Jenkins slipped under my door. "Thanks for standing up. We're free now." By evening, the HOA board announced Karen's removal as president. Her name became a local punchline, synonymous with entitled overreach. The sun set over my ranch, painting the sky in hues of orange and hope. My tractor stood proud, untouched, a symbol of resilience. I sipped my coffee, now cold, and smiled. Freedom isn't just about land, it's about standing up to those who think they can trample it. Karen learned that the hard way. Her arrogance met its match in a community that refused to bow. What do you think, where's the line between community standards and personal freedom? Share your thoughts.